This is the project that I completed while being self-quarantined at home during the COVID pandemic. This is my virtual pinball machine. I've wanted to build a pinball machine for a very long time, having started by refurbishing old ones and selling them as a hobby. The problem with doing that is it's very easy to get bored with playing the same game, and if you have more than one, they take up a lot of room. So this is a virtual pinball machine that allows me to play many different kinds of games. This was built from an old ping pong table that I had. That's all the wood. The wood cabinetry was a ping pong table that I cut to build the cabinet. The rest of the hardware was, purchases off of eBay. From a hardware perspective, the back glass is a 32-inch TV. The two screens below that is a 17-inch computer monitor that's split into two, the top being what's called a topper, and the bottom being the dot matrix display that appears with many pinball machines. The playfield is a 43-inch 4K TV that is mounted inside the cabinet horizontally and being used as a computer monitor. I have a computer inside the cabinet. If I were to lift the playfield, you'd see that. The computer is a computer that I've had. I bought a new graphics card for it to be able to drive all of the displays because it needed a kind of a hefty graphics card. But this allows me to play many different games. In creating it, I wanted to be able to play and organize pinball games to find them easily. So the software that's running it is called Pinup Popper, which is pretty awesome software that some really talented guys put together. I have the ability using the flipper buttons on the side to navigate through the menus. So I'm going to just go home and show you what's out here. There's different categories of tables. So there's movie tables, space tables, sports tables, TV, anything that has to do with cars and racing. I have a list of all the tables. There's card tables, comics, and then there's horror, there's a jukebox, and then there's some that's organized by decade. So if I were to choose the decades as an example and open up the decade list, I have all the pins organized by, or all the tables organized by 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and then the 2000s. So you can make it a little easier to find any games that you have. To demonstrate, I'm going to go over here to the movies category. When I select that, all the games in here are various movies. Nightmare on Elm Street, which we saw, Ghostbusters. I want to show you Harry Potter. To me, Harry Potter, this is one of the most amazing games there is. You can see the back glass. I'm going to start the game. So the game is loading. So the computer is loading the table now to play the game. I'm sorry about the lights overhead. I removed the glass from the top of the machine, hoping that would reduce the glare, but there still is some. What's amazing to me is all these games are free. There are people that design these tables and implement them and build them and make them available as to people who are into this hobby. So this is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. You can see that there's animation up there, it's video from the movie. Really awesome. And the table, the detail in this table is phenomenal. The artwork, the lighting effects, everything is really, truly amazing. I'm going to start a game, and you can see it just popped the ball up in here. Now one thing that I've done that I think is kind of cool, this is an actual pinball plunger here. And there's an interface. I built an interface inside that connects to the computer that allows it to register me pulling back the plunger and at the same time reflecting that in the plunger that appears on the screen. This is a virtual plunger. So I can pull that plunger back part of the way or all the way, which is obviously part of the game of playing pinball. When I let that go, the ball's going to bounce around here. Of course, I can't really play all that much because I'm taking the video with one hand, but you'll get to see how the table works. And the graphics that are on the table is truly, truly amazing. Some cool things about this table. This eyeball, you'll notice, as the ball rolls around the table, the eye actually follows the ball. It's looking at the ball that's down here in the chute right now, and when it shoots up, the eyeball follows it as it goes around the table. There's special effects that happen as the game plays, but this is just one of the most amazing tables that I've seen on here. From a sound perspective, you can see the speakers in the back. There is a sound system inside with a subwoofer pointing out the bottom. I have it turned down now. But in order to get the real feel of pinball, I went an extra step. Besides the plunger that I showed you before, inside I implemented what is called surround sound feedback. And that's using these two amplifiers that are hooked up to a pair of what are called exciter speakers and a subwoofer exciter speaker. And what an exciter speaker is it's not a speaker by itself. In fact, if you held it up, you wouldn't really hear all that much. But you mount them to the cabinet. So I have one mounted about here and another one back here. Two on the other side as well. And then there's a subwoofer exciter mounted in the front and another one in the back on the bottom of the cabinet. And what they do is when sound goes through them, what they're mounted to is vibrates in order to generate sound. So the cabinet actually vibrates, and the surround sound feedback based upon the game and what's happening in the game. If something happens, if a pop bumper fires up here, the exciter that's on this side fires. When I flip the flipper down here on the right side, this exciter makes a noise. The pop bumper or the kicker that's here, when that fires, the exciter on this side fires. So it gives you the feel and the sound of actually playing a real pinball machine, which I'm really loving. So that's been my project, and the only thing that I have remaining is to get some artwork for it for the side to make it something other than just plain black. So that'll be the next thing I do once I find the artwork that I like. So that's been my project.